ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back from the MLG offices in New York City. You're watching Stars War League Season 3. We just saw Parting 2-0 in ST pretty convincingly. Up next is Sen versus Macsed.
That's right, we're here in the quarterfinals. This is a tournament. First place prize is $10,000. Total prize pool around 16,000 cheeseburgers. We're here in the second quarterfinal match. Sen and Macsed, again, a best of three. All the quarterfinals are best of threes.
Yes.
Let's get right into it.
Game resumed.
So here we are on Whirlwind.
Yes,
In
indeed.
the upper right-hand location, we have the blue Zerg from Taiwan. Representing Gamina, we have Sen. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand location, the red Protoss hailing from China, representing Invictus Gaming, we have Macsed. And you know how we talked about earlier about both Parting and Rain being, you know, maybe the two best Protosses in the world, or two of the top couple anyways, being on the same team and really being able to kind of bounce ideas off each other, and that really helping both of them, I think, having another Protoss just as good as them on their team they can talk with all the time. And that's something that, I mean, if you're one of the top couple players in the world of your race, how often are you going to find someone at your level you can bounce ideas off of who plays the same race,
Yeah.
right? And if you're on different teams, you may not, you know, have that same communication. Now, Macsed, being with Invictus Gaming, that's the same team as Jim.
Yep.
Invictus Gaming, many of the top players from China on Invictus Gaming. It's a similar situation. Macsed and Jim, probably the two best Protoss players in China, along with maybe Top and someone else. But having them both in the same team, being able to bounce ideas off each other, is definitely a big advantage to a player like Macsed.
So Macsed played Warcraft 3?
Yes. He played Human in Warcraft 3. I'm 99%
yeah.
sure he played Human.
Yeah, of course, for some of you who don't know, Nick played a lot of Warcraft 3. A little bit.
I used to play some games with Macsed.
Yeah.
I used to play a lot with the Chinese guys.
How was that? Talk about your experience a little bit there.
You know what was the nice thing about Warcraft 3, at least for me also, maybe I've never been a player who's been as bothered by latency, because I just don't micro that much. So with Warcraft 3, there was a program called GG Client, and like I could play on like a Korean host, and it was like a special LAN latency type program. Of course, it's not like LAN because you're playing on a server over in Korea. But it really minimized the delay, so you could do things. You could play much easier internationally, I think, in Warcraft 3 than you can in some of these other games. But playing with the Chinese guys was amazing, because the thing that separates the Chinese players, I think, from the American players and European players, more so than anything, is their dedication to perfecting detail. And that's very similar to the way the Korean players are. I think that's why the players from Korea and China tend to have much better mechanics. Their macro and micro is just a little bit more solid. They're a little bit more crisper in all their execution. And it's because when you have a European or American player in general, this is stereotyping, it's not true for all of them, but they'll often lose the game. They'll look at it and say, you know what? I shouldn't have gone Stormwells. I should have gone Mutas. Oh, I should have attacked a little bit faster. They're trying to figure out how to make their strategy beat their opponent. And the Chinese and Korean players, they'll do some of that, but it's vastly more, oh, I should have been half a second faster on the inject. I should have been a little bit crisper with the micro. And they look to more the mechanical things, and I think that's why, in part, in the longer run, you see these players just get better. And then obviously they add a strategy later, but up until they only really worry about a strategy when they're like the top couple in the world. Up until that point, they're like, you know what? I've seen Parting.
Let's focus on the little things, and get amazing at them.
Exactly, because once you master the micro macro, then you can beat anyone even if they counter your strategy. It doesn't matter. Like we saw Parting versus ST in that first game, right? The micro macro are actually far more important than a strategy, but it can be very frustrating to many people to try to master them, because it's small improvements over time, and it's so much easier to say, oh, if I just get mutas and they're not ready, I'll win. Let's just do this because I can catch them off guard. But in the long run, I think you develop more as a player, and it's really helped the Chinese and Korean scene quite a bit. It's having that type of practice mentality that's at such a high level.
Has that helped Macsed enough to do well in this game against Sen? We're going to find out. Looking at openings, we see a Stargate finishing up here from Macsed. Also has 3 gateways. No gases at his natural expansion just yet. Meanwhile, Sen already up to 3 bases of his own, adding on 2 gases at his... oh, this was actually his first 2 gases he's putting up.
A lot of Zergs are doing this now. They've been doing it for a little bit. It just is more confusing for people when they scout them. They see 2 gases at the natural. Often they won't even get to the main. The hallucination might time out. The observer might run away, being afraid of being taken out. Or for some reason, they might not get to the main. And if they see 2 gases at the natural, they might think, okay, it could potentially be 4 gases, right? If they see no gases at the natural, they know it's at most 2. So they know there's no tech. But if they just see this, they could say it could be a fast tech. Maybe it's not, because often there won't be gas at the main, like in this case, but they're not as sure. As a Zerg player, it's often best to put your gases in your natural first, just to keep your opponent guessing a little bit longer.
Couple of evolution chambers added on there from Sen, also a spine crawler. So, and 10 drones in production. So really focusing a lot on that economy. And going for the double evolution chamber is interesting. He hasn't said, he didn't get speed yet. So
Nope.
I wonder what.
He might get the upgrades first.
And then speed.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of like this in Whirlwind. I think he's really going to focus on speedings a lot, which on the big map like this, a lot of open areas, a lot of attack possibilities to the third base. Yeah, he's going. This is actually a really, really strong way, I think, to.
This is pretty darn optimized. I really like it.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me feel fuzzy inside.
We're probably going to see speed next with the next 100 gas and then layer. Now, you see he's gotten these spine crawlers. It's because he really wants to make sure he can focus on drones. He's doing so much investment in the tech. If there's something like a lot of Zell pressure, he will need the spine crawlers. He's getting spore crawlers as well to help out against the Phoenixes. But otherwise, he's in great shape. He just needs to make sure there's no proxy pylons, because if 8 Zells show up and he's just trying to rally in speedings, the spine crawler goes down fast, that could be a problem. So you can see this Zergling is on a patrol route to make sure nothing comes up in this area, another Zergling patrol in this area. And so he would at least have 20 to 30 seconds to react, because the Zells would have to come from outside of his scouting perimeter. So really, really heads-up job with the scouting by Sen. I love these patrolling Zerglings. It's such a strong thing to do, and it's
gotta
just
make
one
sure,
Zergling on patrol.
Because if you think about what this is weak against, Sen's build right now is if something's attacking right now.
Yes, that he doesn't see coming.
Yep.
Yeah, if he sees it coming, he can build spines and prepare. But if you get caught off guard, it's a Zerg.
Exactly.
And you know, that's one of the things. That's one of the examples I talk about Korean and Chinese practice. Is just a lot of players. Even very, very, very good players. They'll do a build like what Sen's doing. 8 Zelts will come out of nowhere, and they'll just kill them, right? And they're like, you know what, this build doesn't work. I need to get roaches. Or I need to just get blind 20 speedings. Because I can lose to this, right? And then that makes the build weaker. Whereas a player like Sen says, oh, I just need to be perfect with scouting. And yes, Sen probably loses games to sometimes missing a pylon. But instead of saying, oh, I should do a build that's easier to execute, he says, no. I just need to get better at the game so I don't miss those pylons. I don't let this catch me off guard. I get better at scouting. I get better at reacting.
Yep, it's the little things that make these guys really good, and if you try to do it in your play, that's great. It's in those patrolling Zerglings. It will really save you a lot of headaches in the future. A lot of links coming forward here from Sen into that third base. Going to try to target fire down that Nexus. 4-ton overcharge going down. Macsed does not want to lose this. I'm wondering where his main army is. There it is. Colossus coming forward, but Sen doing a lot of damage to that Nexus. Remember, these are 1-1 Zerglings.
Yeah, I mean, with the sentries coming in here, won't be able to finish it off, but it's hard to tell if that was even worth it for Sen or not.
I'm not sure it was.
He did kill a couple buildings, but so many losses. I mean, the Nexus probably has an absurd number of kills. We'll see with Macsed's macro, he's willing to stop playing the probe if he wants it to.
Does Sen know about this
but
infestation
50 units killed so far.
Look, that's 0 units. Macsed hasn't lost a wait.
Yeah, units lost is
2.
2. Oh, those are buildings. Sorry, he lost a pylon and a gateway.
So Macsed has yet to lose an actual.
Yeah, he lost a pylon and a gateway, which is that, but no actual units.
Okay.
Very brutal.
Could be a perfect game. Let's see what happens.
We'll have to see.
Will this be a perfect game?
I don't think so. Not with Hive coming up, and it's going to be a bloody game. Yeah, I like the way Sen's doing this. Now, I think he was leaving it possibly open to either go to Mutas or to progress the Hive with the upgraded Zergling expansion opening. But then when he saw the fact his opponent was going Phoenix, already had a Void Ray, trying to go Mutas, he would just have to hope Macsed doesn't scout it. And if Macsed's being attended with these Phoenixes, if he sees it, he just build more Phoenixes, and you'd be in trouble going Mutas. So. Now, Macsed, of course, he realized Sen is teching. He's trying to hit a timing window before the Hive tech kicks in. And this is a very difficult push to hold. There's sentries to deal with the Banings. Baning speed has just started. This space is almost surely going to have to be forfeited. But wait, no, is Sen going to try to defend this? He's not going to give up the base. He's
trying to make a lot of Banelings too. 2-2 is not yet done. Macsed being very technical, and he lost his first unit. A Zealot getting taken down there. All the Queens getting picked up, and Macsed is being so cost efficient here. Taking on so many units with those Colossi, even force fielding behind him. He knows those Banelings are coming up. and Macsed is on top of everything Zen is throwing at him.
Yeah, more and more Speedings rallying in, getting some damage done. The Queens are actually doing a great job against the air, but this is where those 50 Speedings he lost early really would have helped out. He still has a lot of Queen energy. Oh, those two dying before they can hit any transfuses. More and more Speedings coming in here, though. Sen really trying to make his defense happen. Drones are being pulled.
Oh, my God.
Oh, there's
Zealots.
3 more sentries here. Yeah,
more Zealots, more sentries.
Okay, now he's abandoning the base, realizing that the defense was not going to happen. And it's always a poor feeling when you try defense, lose a bunch of units, lose your queens, lose units before you have the key upgrades done, then you have to give it the base anyway. Meanwhile, there's a warp in coming here into main. It's going to do a lot of damage, but if Sen can survive to ultras, he's in great shape. He's way ahead in upgrades. He still has 3 bases. The hard part is now that he's lost so much attending that defense, can he even make a defense further back or not? Can he make this happen?
Okay.
Okay, here's some babies with speed now, and there's not that many force fields.
This is
getting decent connections, actually, but he just doesn't have enough units.
I mean, Ultra's Cavern is halfway done, and Sen has 1,000 minerals, 1,600 gas, but I don't know if he has enough time to get those out.
Yeah, it's unclear at this point. I loved his build, but just a couple engagements when he tried to kill a 3rd base of Macsed and then try and defend his own 4th. That just didn't go for him. Macsed, he did the great timing window, continuing to push in here. The reason it's not like Sen's being stubborn. Okay, now he's gonna leave.
There it is.
Because
he had when you have 2,000 in the bank, you're never gonna want to actually. You're never going to want to just leave the game because you want to use all those resources. So part of him felt like, okay, maybe if I delay long enough, I can get all those ultras out.
I mean, and if you look at the upgrades, he was well ahead in upgrades.
Yeah.
Literally, if he got, and there was the Mothership Core stack taken out early with that push, actually, I don't even know if it was even there. If literally 4 ultras come out, they kill this entire army. This entire army dies to 4 ultras with a few speedings rallying in or something like that. And if he kills this army, all of a sudden it's 3 base to 3 base, but he's got better upgrades, better tech, and map control.
Yep.
And Macsed will have a very difficult time expanding. He'd have to basically turtle up, wait to slowly build immortals, and then he could counter ultras, but that'd be 5 minutes later, and by then Sen could have expanded. He could transition to Mutas, transition to Brood Lords, whatever he wants. So it was just a matter of he needed about an extra minute of time, and maybe if he had the 50 more speedlings that he lost
earlier trying to go the next. Yep.
That might have been enough, or maybe if he preserved his what he did have until he finished 2-2, just sacked the 4th base, maybe that would have been enough too. It's hard to tell. There's a lot of maybes.
A little bit earlier of an Ultra's Cavern. A lot of things we can talk about. Ultimately, though, Macsed playing a great game there.
Oh yeah. I mean, the timing window was just there, and he hit it perfectly. And that's Protoss, man. Hitting those timing windows perfectly is a huge part of Protoss.
And it's all Protoss today so far. Of course, we saw Parting earlier take down ST2. And now we're watching Macsed with a 1-0 advantage over Sen. Guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Game 2 of this best of 3. Don't go anywhere.